everyone. I'm Donna Bush with your CIG TV News Brief on this Thursday. We begin with a look at cleanup efforts after the passing of what is now Hurricane Grace. Premier the Honorable Wayne Panton called an emergency meeting of members of his government Wednesday night where they discussed the impact of the storm. The members of Parliament agreed to approve funds to assist with the cleanup of various constituencies, to provide funding to assist with necessary housing repairs, and to provide funds and services to farmers that have been adversely affected. On Thursday, we heard from the Honorable Premier, who's asking home and business owners to do their part in helping clean up our islands. He says, quote, "If you have waste vegetation, we're asking that you take the remnants of downed trees, vegetation, and green waste to the following areas," end quote. The areas include across from the dock at Oman Bay in Northside, East End Civic Center, the Crown property on Anton Bodden Road near Lookout Gardens, the NRA stockpile site on Poindexter Road near Prospect Primary School, the Ed Bush Stadium in West Bay, the Georgetown landfill, and the landfills on Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. And you can find the Premier's entire message online on the CIG Television YouTube page, the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page, and on gov.ky. Well, dozens of members of the Cayman Islands Regiment, the RCIPS, and National Roads Authority were out immediately following the passing of Grace, helping with disaster relief, cleanup, and evacuation across Grand Cayman, the island hit hardest by the storm. After several hours of heavy winds and rainfall, uprooted and damaged trees could be seen in neighborhoods and main roads across the island. Down electricity lines along with across the island power outages had crews from emergency services and private companies out working on restoration efforts as quickly as possible. Many homes and businesses received minor damage from the wind or fallen trees. The Cayman Islands Fire Service is encouraging all members of the public to be safe when cleaning up around their homes after the passing of the tropical storm Grace. The Fire Service's safety advice is for residents to have the electrical service to their homes inspected properly for damages in order to prevent the possibility of an electrical fire. There's a lengthy list of safety tips for cleanup after a national disaster on the Cayman Islands government's Facebook page from the Cayman Islands Fire Service that residents are encouraged to take a look at. Over on Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, residents there prepared for the worst, but was spared with 35 to 40 mile per hour winds. Miguel Martin, manager of the Charles Colonel Airport, had this to say to residents ahead of what is forecasted to be a busy hurricane season.
Definitely monitor trusted weather services, the Cayman Island National Weather Service, NOAA. They're the sites we use. I don't, recommend any every site because the internet has a lot of information. Some trustworthy and some not so trustworthy. So stick to the National Weather Service and monitor, and as you mentioned, get prepared and be prepared. The hurricane season is here, so be prepared.
As cleanup and recovery from the passage of Tropical Storm Grace remains underway, the National Roads Authority has provided some road safety tips for drivers. You can find those tips online on the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page as well. And with the hurricane season still months from being over, the teams of persons from the public and private sectors say we need to prepare and be vigilant. Acting Deputy Governor Gloria McPhail-Nixon and Danielle Coleman, Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands, along with government officials and other senior civil servants, oversee the teams responsible for ensuring the pre- and post-storm plans work smoothly.
We discussed having the full activation as a sort of dry run. The idea is to make sure that we're ready for the season ahead. We knew it's a tropical storm, obviously, but again, every tropical storm is slightly different. We're really happy that we did, obviously, because obviously the storm itself was a bit stronger than I think most people expected, and there was a lot more damage than was expected from and that we've seen from previous storms. So we had the full activation of the National Emergency Operations Centre for about 30 hours. And again, that was all the 17 emergency support teams in there working very hard and doing their own aspect of the response. So it has been a very long couple of days for all those concerned. And again, a very good sign of private and public collaboration working together to make the response as effective as possible. One of the things we're involved in today, having deactivated the NEAC after the all clear last night, is to make sure that the debris clearance is working well, the utilities are up and running, and damage assessments are done around the island. And another key thing, again, is making sure messaging is out about public safety. Public safety is so important right now. I think we forget how much debris is still in the road, down power lines, a lot of just different bits, a lot of wood, shrubbery and so forth. So it's really important to make sure the public are safe, and we're really encouraging people to be very, very careful when they're driving. A lot of potholes as well coming up right now. Still a lot of flooding, so please make sure you're doing your part to avoid unnecessary areas, flooded areas. And again, the season ahead, we've only really just gone into the busiest part of the season. So please make sure your response kits are refurbished if you haven't got them already. And make sure you're doing part. If we have a tropical storm again in the next couple of months or a hurricane, we want to make sure everyone in Cayman is fully prepared for it. You have your fuel for your generators. We saw large queues last night at different gas stations. People need to be ready, and we want to make sure that everyone is ready for the season ahead. We know it's going to be a busy one. We're strongly encouraging people to go to our website, caymanprepared.ky, and get those supply lists, and again, tailor them to your own needs, but make a family plan and make sure you're ready for the season.
We encourage you to continue to check reliable government sources such as Government Information Services, CIG Television, Radio Cayman, gov.ky, preparedcayman.ky, and weather.gov.ky for information regarding this hurricane season and how you can best prepare. Turning now to our forecast this Thursday, which showed a high temperature of 85 degrees today, the low 77. We can expect partly cloudy skies as we've seen throughout the day with a 30% chance of showers. Winds are from the east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas are rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Small craft. There is a small craft warning in effect. Now, the synopsis calls for moderate southeasterly winds and moderate to rough seas, which are expected for the next 24 hours in our area as Hurricane Grace moves over the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, a reminder that you can find the latest on local weather conditions online at weather.gov.ky. And that's it for today's news brief here on CIG Television. I'm Donna Bush. Thank you for joining us, and be safe.